This Kentucky Derby preview edition of the Sports Gambling Podcast is brought to you by Underdog Fantasy. Play their fantasy pick'em for a chance to win 100x in the NBA, golf, MLB, MMA, NHL, and more. Sign up today at UnderdogFantasy.com using promo code SGPN to get a 100% deposit match. We're also brought to you by NYRA Bets. Sign up today for a $25 free bet and a $200 deposit bonus. Promo code SGPN25. Just go to nyrabets.com/SGPN25.
Hey, what's up, you degenerate gamblers? This is Bill Burr, and you're listening to SGPN. Let it ride, baby.
He's one of those guys who will get penetration.
Welcome everyone to the Sports Gambling Podcast. I'm Sean, second the money green with my partner in picks, Ryan, Real Money Kramer. What's happening, Kramer?
Dog. Are you hunting or are you going to a horse race?
I'm going to a horse race, Ryan. I got my horse handicap and sunglasses on. Bob Baffert style in honor of Bob Baffert, who I don't know how he can have a Kentucky Derby and not have Bob Baffert in there. I thought I thought the horse racing, it was a gentlemanly thing. Yeah. Okay. Cheats and okay. Gave the horse some arse cream that it didn't need. Also, like the deeper I dove into it, the amount he tested positive for wasn't that crazy.
Clearly, he fucked with the wrong. He fucked around.
You're out to get Bob Baffert. Well, he's not in the race. It's bullshit.
You don't think the Derby people are elitist, fucking snooty motherfuckers?
Yeah, but I thought
he fucked around and found out with the wrong rich motherfucker.
Well, I thought he was the guy who did the fucking around, and he's also a very wealthy.
Sean,
man.
I'm learning now in the digital streets that there are people who own horses and there are people that own tracks.
Oh wow. Yeah.
So maybe you don't want to mess with the track owners. It's a tight knit community. You wouldn't want to cross the wrong track owner and get excommunicado from the most important race. I just could you imagine if you own? It's just bad for business. Do you realize that at this point, Kentucky Derby horse racing, you are wrestling, you're WWE. You have to let the most interesting people show up to the biggest events.
Well,
that white hair, like someone needs to have white hair at least. Put a plant, make it mysterious. Like who's that white-haired creature walking around the grounds? Is that Bob Baffert?
Maybe it'll be like the hot dog eating contest where, who is the Japanese guy?
We should know this, right? We should know who one of the greatest eaters of all time is. Kobayashi.
Yes.
Nailed it.
He stormed the gates of Kobayashi. Let him eat. Well, if I'm Bob Baffert, I just ride my horse to the race.
Greg Norman
just
showed up to the Masters.
Yeah, come on.
Bought his own way in.
Just when it's time to get in the post position, just trot up on your horse. Bob Baffert, they should let him in under the condition he has to be the jockey, right? I think that would be a win-win for everyone.
If I was Bob Baffert, I'd land my fucking helicopter right in the infield there. You want to stop me? Stop me.
All right, Ryan, enough messing around. We're going to be joined by some legit horsemen in just a second. Before we do, shout out to the new sponsor.
Hello.
Perfect for getting down on some horse racing action, NYRA. You can bet the run for the roses with NYRA Bets. Score big on the Kentucky Derby with a double dose of reward. Sign up today. You get the $25 free bet and a $200 deposit bonus with promo code SGPN25. Join now to claim $25 free bet and $200 bonus at nyrabets.com/SGPN25. And they got bonuses on top of bonuses. We got the Kentucky Oaks Day bonus. You get in there, they got a $30 bonus. Opt in and bet at least $150 on each of the Belmont on each on Belmont at the Big A and Churchill Downs, $30 win or lose, and an extra 50 for Derby 150. That's right. It is the 150th Kentucky Derby. Bet $250 each on Belmont at the Big A and Churchill Downs for a $50 bonus, win or lose. nyrabets.com/SGPN25. Get in there. 25. I mean, at the very least, your $25 free bet, the deposit bonus. You'd be crazy not to do it. Okay, Ryan, joining us on the line. You know him from the MLB Gambling Podcast and the Premier League Soccer Gambling Podcast.
Oh, wow.
That's how you pronounce it, right, Ryan?
Wow. No, you know what? I'll let you face Malcolm straight up. The
Premier League Gambling Podcast, Mr. Malcolm Bamford, also a great horse gentleman. Malcolm, what did I mess up? Premier League Gambling Podcast, correct?
Pronunciation was awful, but is in keeping with your nation. You just put words in there that aren't there, but that's all right. I did passive aggressive, so I'll happily let anything slide tonight.
Wow. Referencing a MLB Gambling Podcast review. Make sure you toss him a 5-star rating review. Joining us as well, you know him from the horse racing streets, the notorious OTB host himself, the Wolf of Oaklawn. What's happening, Wolf?
Oh, Wolf's muted.
Wolf is muted.
So far, I've learned that things are going well for me, but I've also learned that the sport that I've dedicated my life to has been likened to a glizzy eating contest and the WWE. So just a lot of bright future for me is what it feels like.
In a good way, though. Like the WWE is back.
Yeah,
that's true.
That type of narrative-based drama that, I mean, South Park so eloquently nails making fun of in their wrestling episode from years ago. that horse racing needs to be a little bit of that. I mean, honestly, as someone who has really dipped his whole foot, maybe whole body, my whole crypto savings into the digital horse streets. You got there is something to the pageantry, right? Like maybe it doesn't fit with a college football game in College Station quite as well as it does with a horse race, but yeah, they got to lean into the villain. Definitely. The villains are what makes sports great.
Yeah. Malcolm, Bob Baffert banned from this race.
Speaking of villains,
what are some of the storylines coming in here besides the big Bob Baffert ban? What else are the big storylines coming in to the 150th Kentucky Derby?
Just that it's really, really quite wide open. There's no standout talking horse. There's been kind of a lack of controversy, I would have said. Chase might have his finger on the pulse a bit more than me, but kind of the news is that there's no news, I would have said. Like in previous years, we've had quite a lot of stuff to talk about, but we've had no big injuries. We've had no controversies. We've had no big scratches. There's been a scratch, but it was a 40-1 shot, I think. So yeah, like it's all quiet on the Western Front. I think it's there's no excuses here, boys. We're all sitting here. We're going to pick some winners. We've got no excuses. So yeah, fine.
It sounds like the pressure is on here for us to nail this, Wolf.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and no, to Malcolm's point, there haven't been any crazy scratches, no late positive PED tests for the horse. What would you say is the biggest storyline coming in here?
I feel like Malcolm already stole it. Just no news. I mean, you've had one scratch. By this time, we've had 3 or 4 scratches out. I think that maybe the story could be the Derby favorite, Fierceness, and because it's such a on again, off again kind of horse in terms of how it performs, which we'll definitely get more into. But because I think everyone kind of knows that if Fierceness runs its race, Fierceness will win the Kentucky Derby. But it's just the question: will it get its race?
Will it
That's
get
a
its
badass
race?
horse. Those are the good horses.
Yeah, well, and it's a
good
massive
problem
favorite.
to have.
We'll get to that, but let's start out on Friday's action, aka Kentucky Oaks Day. We got race 10. It is a 8.5 furlong Grade 2 Edgewood Stakes. It is a turf race. Wolf, I'll let you start here. What do you like? Why do you like them? What's happening?
I set a high bar last year with no balls, and I like to
Yeah.
Say hello to everyone who's in the Brotherhood of the Spacious Scrotum along with me. For you are my brother. I picked this one out because I have a horse that I really like as a big favorite, or sorry, as a big long shot on the morning line. It's the one Pink Polka Dots, 20-1. There's a distinct pace advantage with Pink Polka Dots. It's the lone speed in this race, should be able to set soft fractions on the lead, and hopefully steals this one from the front. You know, you let these horses that are longer odds get out and run on the lead. They just tend to get brave and get pumped up and get braver and braver as the race goes on. I'm hoping that Pink Polka Dots, ironically, is super brave for me. But at 20-1, I'm going to take the shot with the win play show. I mean, this horse has run 3 career races, 2 of them wins on turf, and then they decided to move it over to the all-weather to try the Bourbonnette Stakes at Turfway Park, which the all-weather is a synthetic surface that they have there that's not the same as turf. And they just kind of had Kentucky Oaks fever with this horse, and now it's on the back on the what I think is the preferred surface. And at 20-1, it's pretty juicy right there on the morning line.
Oh, I'm taking notes. Don't worry, Sean.
Oh yes,
Yeah.
I got a ton of notes here, and yeah,
I will phone our horse men bet placer after this. The IRS window syndicate.
Malcolm, what do you have any thoughts here for race 10 on Friday?
I had a look at it particularly because I knew Chase liked a couple of outsiders, and to be a little bit boring about it's a match. It looks like a match. It's certainly at the top of the market. There's 2 horses that with clear separation from the others. Horses that have that are reopposing, having ran against each other in the Breeders' Cup Juvenile. So you've got Hard to Justify, who won that race. And the number 4 horse is the one I like. A horse called Buchu. And Buchu. Is
bless you.
It was what we laughing at. Have I pronounced that right, Chase? Do we have an official pronunciation on?
Kramer just said, "God bless you."
He said, "God bless you," like he sneezed. I think technically it's Buku, but I mean,
Buku.
You guys invented the language, so I'm gonna let you go with
Buku
Bushu.
Bucks, maybe.
Buku was favourite. Oh, it was a shorter price than Hard to Justify at Santa Anita. And she ran okay, but she pulled hard early on. She didn't settle, had a little break, and came back recently and ran really, really well and looked like she'd learned a little bit. She didn't pull hard. She settled down. Didn't get a great run either, but got up by half a length. But I think she was valued for much more than half a length. So I think Buku's the one with a little bit more improvement. Like I said, they're 5-2 joint favourites, I think. So the bookies can't split them, but I think there's a little bit more improvement in Buku. With it being a match, though, that does leave that 3rd place open and the exotic spots open for a big price one. So there's the long shots are live. So Chase's long shots live, but I do think Buku's the improver in the field here.
Now, do you like Buku at a win play show just to win? What do you
just
think?
Win. Just win straight up. A good old fashioned British win.
None of these crazy American exotics, just to bet on the horse to win. See, Ryan, that's the problem.
Yeah.
We got horse racing and we got crazy.
We got along. Well, do you know why it's called the Edgewood Stakes?
No, I don't.
Yeah. It's not exciting. It's named after a neighborhood on the south side of Louisville named Edgewood.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Little Kentucky knowledge there.
I went to the Wikipedia page, so I was going to share it one way or another. Couldn't have predicted it was going to be this boring.
All right, so Ryan, it sounds like we like Pink Polka Dot.
Well,
maybe some long shot and Buku to take care of business there.
That's what the notes say.
Okay.
I feel like I'm just making a grocery list right now. So we'll verify at the end.
Yeah, we'll give you all the picks at the end. What about race 11, aka the Kentucky Oaks itself? It's a 9 furlong grade 1 race. It is on dirt. Chase, how say you? What do you like here in this race?
Well, first, if you're unfamiliar with the Oaks, this is essentially just the Kentucky Derby for female horses. This is for the 3-year-old fillies. They had to go through a qualifying point system to get here. With that being said, I like a horse that I think really kind of sits off the pace because this pace projects to be extremely quick, based off the time form pace projector. And I think it's going to fall to one of these off pace horses. The one that drew my eye is the 5 Torpedo Anna at 5-1. She's won three of her four career starts. Has gotten all three of those career wins coming off the pace to win. And it won in impressive fashion the Fantasy Stakes at Oaklawn Park, and now looks like an exciting, horse just on the outside odds wise that could get it done at a good price. So I think there's a lot of good value to be had with Torpedo Anna. I'm going to bet that horse to win, and then I'm also going to play an exacta here, where I put Torpedo Anna in first, and then I'm using two. Okay.
Do we lose Chase?
Did I hear whoa?
Sorry, Chase,
what happened?
You're cutting out there. You like
Torpedo to win, and then you're about to give us an exacta.
Yeah, an exacta using Torpedo in first, and then I'm gonna use two horses I like coming from further off the pace. Where's My Ring and Ways and Means. So that's a 5 with 3-11 exacta. Torpedo Anna with Where's My Ring and Ways and Means. Did I get through?
Yeah, that's see, he's not wasting the box. See, Sean or I, we would just say this is easier. We're just gonna box this together.
Toss them all in the box. What's in the box, right?
I have a question. So if we like that exacta situation, right? You're saying you like 5 in the one spot, and you're gonna take a one version where 3 gets second, one version where 11 gets second. Are you also in support of just doing the same thing with the trifecta, maybe? Also playing it out to a third spot.
Yeah, I mean, you could easily do it. It's a super cheap ticket. If you do it at the 50-cent base, it's only going to cost you $1. And with prices like Torpedo Anna and some of these other prices here, I think especially with the way that the pools pay out on these days, that trifecta is always a great pool to get into.
Torpedo Anna does sound like an adult film star. I don't know what the hell is a torpedo?
Huh? Thor when he's
no, it's like kind of sounds like a
torpedo. The swimming man was the torpedo.
Ian Thorpe.
Swimming, by the
way. You got to watch the live video to see Malcolm's impression of swimming.
I can go backwards as well, by the way.
Can we put that to music? Do the swimming man.
We're creating dance moves here. Malcolm, what do you like in this race here?
Torpedo Anna, Chase's selection is the real Cinderella here. She was cheap. She was $40,000, which in horse terms, is bargain basement stuff. There's been a lot more illustrious, higher priced rivals here. I like a horse that Chase mentioned. I like Ways and Means. Ways and Means. Firstly, what caught my eye when I looked at this afternoon was there's been money around for it. There's been some shrewd money around for it. The horse was 8-1, probably 48 hours ago. The horse is now 9-2. So they're coming for it. They're backing it. And it was really, really good on its debut. It then had a little setback, but it bounced back really, really nicely. So it's got a nice profile. Again, we talked about in the last race, a progressive type. And this is the one. So the combination of that little bounce back race and the money, I can't get away from the money, but they haven't crippled the price. It's not going off at 4 to 5 or anything. 92 still a working man's price, so it's still backable. Like you might have missed the 8-1, but there's nothing to be ashamed about backing a 92 winner. And then I have gone American and got some numbers for you all to throw in the lottery.
Let's go.
It's pretty much all the single figure priced horses, apart from the favourite. I'm throwing the favourite out. The favourite's Tarifa at 3-1. There's no real chinks in her armour. I'm just not blown away by it all. So with Ways and Means, I've got the number 13, just FYI. That's a Bill Mott horse, and he's crafty as a barrel of monkeys. Like, he'll get this one ready. This horse will be tuned up. You've got the number 14. They're all sort of the outside as well, these horses, which I like because they can carry each other into the race. They can all go around. They can all go around together, drag each other into the race. Leslie's Rose, the number 14 at 5-1, has had a couple of eye-catching wins. And then the number, I'll put the number 5 in, Torpedo Anna. So if you want to, if Chase is talking about 50 pence boxed everything, ways and means to be followed home by Just FYI, Leslie's Rose, and Torpedo Anna.
Oh, that sounded like a superfecta. So I got that down. We got 11, 13, 14, and 5.
Ooh,
that's the one.
I'm not going to be afraid to do a little cheapo superfecta roll there, perhaps.
So it sounds like Ryan.
But there's also the 3 horse, the Where's My Ring that Chase liked. We'll have to. This is
they
tough.
both like Ways and Means.
Yes, and they both like Torpedo. So 5 and 11.
Yeah,
definitely in there.
Okay, and then, all right, yeah.
All right, so we're gonna. This is what
maybe just a 5'11" exacta.
This is what you and I are gonna do. We're gonna do a 5'11" exacta box.
Okay.
We're also gonna do we're gonna do Malcolm superfecta box, because we 11, 13, 14, and 5. 11, because 13. We don't want to accidentally leave money on the street for someone else to find.
There is nothing worse than having guys come on the show, give out winners, and then not being on those winners.
Now, Chase did suggest a win on 5. Maybe we sprinkle that as well.
I like a win play show on Ways and Means. Win play show on Torpedo Anna.
Oh, okay.
5'11" exacta box.
Okay, so yeah, I'm actually
superfecta box. 11, 13, 14, everything. 5.
All right, yeah. Okay, got it. All right,
simple enough.
Great conversation, man. I would love to see like a Guy Ritchie rendition of us having a horse conversation with Malcolm and Chase. Would be electric.
Ryan, hey, before we actually get to the real Kentucky Derby, got to shout out underdogfantasy.com. Head over there, promo code SGPN. Get you 100% deposit match. Maybe you're listening to the MLB Gambling Podcast with our buddy across the pond, Malcolm, giving out a bunch of winners. And of course, your favorite higher lowers when it comes to fantasy projections. Great way to put a little get a little bonus action. Shout out to Florida. If you're in the state of Florida, they now have Champions game available for Underdog Fantasy. Perfect time to get in. Of course, Canada, you can play Underdog Fantasy. Go to underdogfantasy.com. Use the promo code SGPN. Get you a 100% deposit match up to $100. They have a ton of sports. I mean, WNBA stuff, UFL, NFL season long stuff already higher, lower available. Ryan, real quick, Brock Bowers 4.5 receiving touchdowns, higher, lower, instant reaction.
Lower.
Underdogfantasy.com, promo code SGPN. And we're also brought to you by Unified. Whether you're a world-class athlete like these horses or a podcaster like me, we all understand the importance of mental and physical well-being and proper recovery for top-notch performance. That's why I'm excited. Unified Healing is sponsoring this episode of the Kentucky Derby Preview. Unified Healing is a new, super innovative global network of wellness centers powered by the Energy Enhancement System, or EE system. If you haven't heard of the EE system yet, you'll want to listen up. This technology promotes wellness, deep relaxation, purification, and rejuvenation. Whether you're here in LA or hundreds of other locations across the globe, easy and affordable to get started. Just head over to unifiedhealing.com/SGPN. That's UNIFYD healing.com/SGPN. No materials or testimonials on the Unified Healing website are intended to be viewed as medical advice or a substitute for professional medical advice, diagnosis, or treatment. Always seek the advice of your physician or other qualified healthcare provider with any questions you may have regarding a medical condition or treatment, and before undertaking the new healthcare regimen, including EE system. Kentucky Derby, it's here Saturday. Run for the Roses, the most exciting 2 minutes in sports. Chase, get us fired up for the Derby. Give us some backstory. What do we got to know before we start picking some winners?
What you need to know is that you have 2 horses that are co-favorites that have knocks on them, and it makes it feel like a wide open Derby when it comes to betting. And I mean, for me, with Fierceness, like I said earlier, if Fierceness runs his own race, has a perfect trip, then no one catches Fierceness. But do you really want to accept 5-2 in a 20-horse race and then be walking around with that ticket in your pocket whenever he gets bumped at the gate and then doesn't perform? Not me. I'd rather try something better, a little bit better. Also, Sierra Leone, who's the second choice at 3-1, it's a dead closer, and that horse is going to have to negotiate 19 other tired horses and the rest of the pace coming back to him to be able to close. So if I like Sierra Leone, why don't I just take some of the other horses that are in this mix that have way better prices that are going to be doing roughly the same thing? I don't have the essentially the freak tax on these because these two horses are freaks and they're going to be very successful in their careers. But I'm just not sure if these are their races. So I think if you're going to be excited because throw a dart. You could maybe pick out a Kentucky Derby winner at a huge price.
Throwing darts. Now we're talking. Malcolm.
That's always that's the allure of the Derby, right?
Yeah.
Even when there is chalk, it's like, yeah, but there's all these horses, and you
20
can
of
build
them.
a story as to why maybe the favorite won't get it.
Country House. You don't need to tell me, Ryan.
I'll have another.
Yeah, Malcolm. Why is Fierceness such a big favorite this year? What is it about this horse that it's so dominant?
Start off. This is the 4th year we've done this now, and we've seen all manner of things happen. You talked about your 99 to 1 shot. I think it was the year before we started, but then we had Fitch Strike, which was the reserve, come in. Was that 2 years ago and won it? That was a massive price. Was that?
Yeah.
40, 80. It was an insane price. We saw an unexposed type in major one. So everything's live. Absolutely everything's live and everything's trying. This is like a Tuesday afternoon at a provincial track where the trainer's having it off behind your back. Anything can happen here. So whatever you want, get involved with it. And Fierceness is what makes this really polarizing horse. And earlier in the week, Chase messaged and said he didn't like it. So I started digging into it. And if you watch the Florida Derby, if you watch that video, you will only come to one conclusion, and the conclusion is Fierceness is going to run away. Fierceness could win pulling a cart if he runs to that level. It's got I've been showing some growth and development here, Chase. Fierceness has the biggest speed advantage on your American numbers by any horse in 20 years. This horse on the books has got an incredible advantage because that Florida Derby, he came down this stretch. It looked like he just joined in. But the horse, all the other jockeys were rowing along behind, absolutely effortless, bloodless. Did not break a sweat, this thing. Now, there is this theory that he's got a good race, bad race, good race, bad race. He's had 4. It's a tiny sample. I'm not buying into that at all. I think there's excuses for his 2 bad races. One of them came up on a sloppy track. The last one, I didn't actually think of the eye. Looked too bad. He got bumped a little bit at the start, ran quite well for a long way. It was quite a muddling, messy race. But honestly, you watch that Florida Derby thing. I defy anyone to watch that Florida Derby and pick another horse to win. You'd be insane to pick another horse to win. If you don't want that, you've got everything else on your side. You can take your pick. Sierra Leone, the other joint favourite that Chase mentioned, he said it's a dead closer. The other thing is, it's the size of a Shire horse. It's absolutely huge. It's going to take some organising. It'll take its legs to get organised down that straight. It's going to be too tight. There's too many horses around it. It needs to wind up from 3/4 of a mile that way. I don't think that's possible. It's going to be hard to manoeuvre that thing. So yeah, Fierceness off the front makes the story. If you don't want Fierceness, then that's when you can pull out any other name and make a case for it.
So it seems like either you take Fierceness and take the chalk and kind of build around it, or you just say hashtag DGens only and get the dartboard out and start firing. I did love when Malcolm was saying, talking about getting the legs organized. It reminded me of Bill Rafferty. One of his favorite expressions, get those puppies organized. Talking about the college basketball, getting your feet set before you go. And it's a comical visual of this giant horse trying to figure out where to put its legs. But there certainly is a rhythm to these beasts and them trying to figure it out late certainly is interesting and a fun part of this. We'll go back to you, Chase, before we actually get into some lead pipe locks. Any thoughts on the track condition? Track condition, and do you think it's going to be a track condition where Fierceness can succeed?
I think any day that you have these big stakes races, they tend to maintain the track in a way that's going to help this kind of run style for Fierceness. Now, you're due to get a deluge of rain, is what I've heard on Friday in Louisville. So by that time, it should technically, might be dried off by then, and it might not have any bearing. If anything, maybe it helps some of these little more off-pace horses or a horse down, close towards the rail, like a Sierra Leone who can just kind of mosey over and take that trip. But I think with this, the biggest race of the year, they'll have it pretty well worked over by the time the race actually runs.
It does seem like it's going to be wet all week until Saturday. It's going to clear up somehow. The gods want to see a dry or at least a sunny Kentucky Derby. I don't know.
Yeah, no, I mean it's it'll be interesting to see the track conditions.
I just while everyone was talking, I did watch that Florida Derby.
Yes. Yeah,
I would say casual would be a way to describe the domination.
Yeah, just kind of like walked in there.
Well, so I mean, anyone who's ever been to the track with me would know when you watch a horse walk around the paddock, you can generally see like how tight it looks or how relaxed it is or whatever. There's something to when you see a favorite that looks very calm and relaxed, and you watch the jockey on top of it, and it's just like it's not looking to run it as hard as it can run it, and it destroys another grade 1 stakes that is typically one of the races people look at in the build up to the Derby. So yeah, it's easy to understand why people, like Malcolm said, if you watch that race like I just did, it's been like, all right, well, it would need to get bumped around a bit. It would need to get put off its tracks or whatever. Which, by the way, we kind of glossed over it, but crafty as a barrel of monkeys.
Oh, all time. I don't think we've ever. I always learn one expression by having Malcolm on: craftier than a barrel of monkeys. Although I would imagine if they were so crafty, Malcolm, how'd they get stuck in the barrel? Right? Like, come on, your monkeys should figure out a way.
Where that came from, a newspaper article accused me of being as crafty as a barrel of monkeys back in the day.
Really?
When there'd been some general shenanigans. I was accused of match fixing in the local pub Skittles League. And the local newspaper, it's a great story on it.
Wait, local pub Skittles? The candy?
Yeah.
All right.
It's it's like 10-pin bowling. But every pub down in the southwest of the country has a big wooden alley on the back, built to the back. And they play Skittles, which is 9 wooden pins in a diamond, little wooden balls. And you play 12 aside. It's a league, it's a team game. You play 12 aside, and every pub plays. So we play Monday night, Tuesday. There's a different league every night. There's a Sunday lunchtime league. And we got thrown out the league for match fixing. And the upshot was, having been in the local press, they did say I was as crafty as a barrel of monkeys. So I do like using that whenever I can. It's a badge of honor, kind of.
All right, hold on, Ryan.
Were you match fixing?
Ryan, breaking news.
Match fixing's a really strong way to put it.
SGPN presents.
Hold on, Malcolm.
Real Men of Degens. Real Men of Degens. We salute you,
Malcolm Bamford, for fixing matches and being as crafty as a barrel of monkeys. What was the end game? What was the score? What was the haul? What did you get out of it, Malcolm?
We won the league, but were then thrown out of the league by the disciplinary committee. But that was the Monday night league. So what we did was we entered the Tuesday night league, and we were back in the game.
So wait, how do you fix a Skittles match for those?
We hadn't got into this.
This is great.
It's basically it's home advantage. It's our you play home and away. So this week we're on our home alley, which is the Crown and Anchor. Next week we might be at the Saracen's Head or the Punch Bowl, whatever the pub is. And this is so ridiculous. One of the players' sons comes. When you knock the pins over, someone has to stand them back up again, obviously. Yes. So one of the players would bring their kid down, like 10, 11-year-old kid would come and stand the pins up, and everyone gives him a quid. So at the end, he goes home with 15 quid, 10-year-old. He's quite happy. Now, we had some light pins and some heavy pins. So he was instructed to put the light ones at the front when the other team were bowling, and then put the heavy ones at the front when we were bowling. Therefore, everything domino effect.
Oh, yeah.
The other trick was to open the back door when they were bowling. because that dropped the temperature and that affected the way the pins fell as well. So that was pretty much it.
Brian, that sounds like an old Giants stadium where if they wanted the opposing team to miss a field goal, they would open the doors.
It's a home edge. I'm not actually seeing what the problem is.
I don't know.
There
this
isn't one.
is just
Yeah. This feels like bullets.
This is very Tom Brady-esque. You know, hey, there was a little PSI adjustment.
Listen, let me go watch some YouTube videos on physics real quick.
And the kid was in on it. I love that.
Imagine some guys at a bar, bar bowling league, looking into the effects of cold temperatures on wooden pins.
It reminded me of when CJ, host of the Bottom Line Bombs podcast, of course, came into me when they were doing that baseball, the Field of Dreams game, and he was describing how the humidity from the corn stalks was a dead nut play on the over because they were playing next to corn, that it really was going to help the ball sail out. I'm like, all right, we got to get this guy working for us. All right, got a little sidetracked.
That was a moment where you were okay. You passed the intern. You
truly a D-Gens only. And Ryan, also shout out to Malcolm, first ever guy who became part of the news story that got him nominated for Real Men of D-Gens in the same episode. Ryan, don't see that very often.
And just I would also, I think there do we make a plaque craftier than a barrel of monkeys? Like if someone do we have the newspaper article?
Oh, that's
someone
next.
find that.
We're gonna track.
Someone find this newspaper article.
We're gonna track that down. Maybe that's D-Gens University.
I've got three or four articles, by the way. It made the national press. I've got them, so I will screenshot them and send them across to you in the next couple of hours. They're well worth a chuckle.
This is great.
If you're gonna be a professor at D-Gen University, you have to have some degrees to put on the wall.
This is better than any sheepskin.
Oh wow! Yeah, Wolf did not expect this was going to happen when he woke up this morning.
But this is a great time to talk degeneracy. So Wolf, let's get to it. Where the rubber meets the road. What is going to happen in the 150th Kentucky Derby?
I think first of all, you're going to see a very hot pace being set, and it's going to fall to a horse that picks up the pieces. And for the third year in a row, I'm going with the Japanese horse to win it. Yeah, I know. I didn't want to. I really did not want to be on this horse, but the win of the UAE Derby was impressive. And from a thoroughgraph standpoint, which I look at these on the big weekends because it's a figure that kind of levelizes all the other figures that are being thrown at me. And if you look at it, there are two horses that are actually fast enough to compete with fierceness. And one of them is Forever Young at 10-1. I don't think you can mess around and just, try to play the trifecta or exacta or anything. Like bet the horse to win. Like definitely do that first. Always play the old pick one, as I like to call it. And then I'm going to play an exacta, and I'm going to use another horse that actually, since Naira has their $25 bet promotion going for a free bet for the Derby, I've got a free bet here with the other horse I'm going to use on top in the exacta, and that's the number 6 Just Steal at 20-1.
Oh.
With these free bets, you can either pound chalk, or you can try to hit something big at a price, and if you missed it, then you never had it anyway. So I think Just Steal matches the run style of Sierra Leone, and I think that this one will stretch out really well, and this distance really kind of smacks it right in between the eyes. Ran second last out to Muth in the Arkansas Derby, who's ineligible because it's the Bob Baffert horse. No. And honestly, if he was in this race, he'd likely be, if not the morning line favorite, the second choice here. And I don't think he's chasing anything close to Muth, especially if fierceness doesn't perform. So with the $25 free bet, take a swing at Just Steal at 20-1. The exact I'm going to play, I'm going to use those two horses, Forever Young and Just Steal, and I'm going to put them in first place. So Just Steal, Forever Young. And then in second place, I'm going to use Sierra Leone, Just Steal, and Forever Young, because I do think that Sierra Leone will be in the mix late.
All right.
Oh man, so much to break down here, Ryan.
So, I was going to bring up Just Steal, unrelated to Chase, loving it, because a friend of the program, Justin Steele.
Oh yes,
and I saw the name, and it made me think of that. So that I will say that the the 6 was already on my card as I was going to ask a question about maybe a long shot. So I'm very excited. Also would like to comment. Naira sounds like an exotic lady companion. When Chase said that, I perked up and I'm like, who's this Naira? Oh,
yes.
We need to adopt that pronunciation there.
Naira.
Yeah, I mean, I'm curious to hear what Malcolm has to say here, because I will say in the, again, amateur real life horseman becoming expert digital horseman, I am kind of it does seem like this the chalk horse here is fucking good. And don't watch the Florida Derby if you want to bet on long shot. Whatever you do, don't watch the Florida Derby. Sean, it would be like if imagine you lined up next to peak Michael Johnson to run a 400, and you look like you're running as fast as you can, and you're like 20 yards behind him, and he's just like casually, just like power walking.
Like
That's
gold shoes, Michael Johnson, or like current day Michael Johnson.
Gold shoe, like the one that was probably taking steroids, but didn't get caught, or did get caught, didn't get caught. I forget. Anyway, I want to hear what Malcolm has to say.
Yeah, Malcolm, what do we like?
Well, yeah, part of the reason I put fierceness in was also to give the other side of the story, because I knew Chase was going to fade him, and that is the story of this derby. It's, do you want fierceness or do you want to go elsewhere? There is a horse I really like, and actually, if fierceness doesn't win, I don't mind. Actually, when Chase said that it's quite a short price, it's 5-2. So if you're looking to back 2 horses, and I would happily take the 6-4 that fierceness wins and just blow 1 unit somewhere else. It's not a bad strategy, because when that's 6 lengths clear coming down the stretch, you're going to be in profit. But if that doesn't win, then I think the horse is coming from the back is where I want to be. And I love the number 7, Honor Marie. Currently trading at 20-1. Has wins at this track. Horses for courses. It's a saying for a reason. Finished second in the Louisiana Derby, but did improve a huge amount between its last 2 starts. Now, if it can show somewhere near that level of improvement, it's been working really well this week. I like the jockey, Irish kid, came across from this country called Ben Curtis. So I really like Honor Marie to chase home fierceness. The other couple I had written down were Catching Freedom, a horse that Chase has already mentioned. And I like the number 15, Domestic Product, 25-1 shot. It's bred for speed, but it's actually bucking that trend at the moment. And it looks like it wants a little bit further. The form's really, really messy, which is why it's 25-1. But you can take positives out of just about all of his runs. So I think he's got a chance. So my place would be the 17. In fact, 17 is now 16. No, still 17. The reserve goes 21, doesn't it? So 17 fierceness. I can still see some 3-1 here, which I think is a great price.
Yeah.
For the exacta, put in number 7, Honor Marie. And then for the TriCast, number 4, Catching Freedom. And number 15, Domestic Product, in with the other 2.
Love it, Ryan. I think I've put together a good formula.
Really?
Yeah.
What do you got?
Yeah. All right. So,
are we taking the chalk?
I think this is, maybe I'll do something.
What's going on?
Some boxing, but this is my plan. I'm going to take my $25 free bet from Naira. Shout out to Naira.
Hello, Naira. How much?
$25 free bet. I'm going to put it on a horse we haven't discussed here yet, but West Saratoga.
Oh, interesting.
Very great narrative. The trainer, hard luck story, $11,000 horse. I mean, they're already writing the Disney movie about West Saratoga. So I'm going to use my $25 free bet. Chase, I saw you shaking your head. Give me a good reason why Saratoga might pull this off at 50-1 right now.
I was actually I was enjoying the face that Ryan was making, because I could tell that he just hated that pick. But let me see if I can make a case for West Saratoga. I mean, it ran well in the Jeff Ruby Stakes, the JR Stakes, the JRS Square Jeff Ruby Stakes at Turfway Park. And I also really like horses that are coming off of all weather. The synthetic track and running back on their natural surface again. I think they get a little pop in performance. So that pop maybe carries West Saratoga to the finish line. I sure hope for you.
Great cap. Love it. And then I'm going to pull some of the some of the favorites from Malcolm and Chase. I think
wow, okay.
so. West Otero going to win using the free bet there, so that's not even counting against my bankroll. And then
that's good. That's
I'm
nice
just going to bet on 3 horses to win: Just Steel, Honor Marie, and Fierceness. Fierceness being the one that'll probably cover any losses.
Be a proper horse. Say numbers too with the horse names.
Okay,
you're not some lady at the window confused at what she's doing.
Horse number 6 to win.
Okay,
6 to win. Then we got horse 13, Lucky 13, West Saratoga is of course 50 to 1, and then you got the good old Honor Marie, aka 7, Lucky 7, 20 to 1, Fierceness, and Just Steel. Just Steel is of course horse 6. So 6, 7, 13, and then 17 is Fierceness. You're
like Colby with UFL teams. You got half the race.
Well, what's the free bet, and then the other 3? It's just your typical 1 unit play. If it ends up going chalky, like Malcolm said, I still feel like I have a profit.
Yeah.
And then I got a couple long shots to keep myself interested.
All right. So here's so coming into the situation now that I'm a digital horseman, I did pull up the data because it's very useful to look at how the horses are running and specifically the splits. And you can very easily tell when there's a different class. And so Fierceness is on the card. I'm playing Fierceness to win. I don't think I'm not sure as I dive deeper into place and show pools. I'm not sure there's value in win place showing it, but win Fierceness. Yes. I also agree with Chase. The only horse that seems to have the type of speed that if the race that Fierceness wants to run is run, potentially is this Japanese horse. And as I've learned more about Japanese breeding, I think we're going to be talking more and more about these Japanese horses winning Kentucky Derbies because they are taking what the hillbillies of Kentucky figured out and enhancing it like a motherfucker. It's Toyota, but with horses fucking. So Forever Young is also, I assume. Yeah, so Forever Young is definitely the faster of the Japanese horses too. So there's another one right next to it. So 11 is also on the card. So we're gonna start with 17 and 11. So what I've learned again in studying more of these races is that when dominant horses that have tremendous speed lose, it's because they didn't use enough of it and they get caught from behind. So now I marry what Malcolm said about someone I think he believes said coming from the back, which potentially a soundbite. Probably not as good as your CJ came into me earlier in the show that hopefully Josh has already clipped for me. So we're gonna add in the 7 horse Honor Marie, who by the way Ribble Farms LLC trainer Whip Beckman, huge fan. See just a couple nuggets there and all of a sudden I'm on the inside. And then so that's 17, 11 and 7. 11 will also be a win play show. So 17 to win, 11 win play show. 7 gets thrown in to the try box with those 2 horses. I'm also going to win play show it just in case. And then Justin Steele, aka Just Steele. Long shot. That can be my $25 free bet. Wow. I'll copy the free bet.
So many winners.
I assume everything's been transcribed and we'll be putting out a graphic. So don't worry about crashing your car to write all this down.
Yeah.
Plenty of good stuff here. And shout out to the live chat. Bunch of fun chat in there. Shout out to Hard Spun Uncle Duffy responding to Malcolm's story. Quote, "This is the greatest story ever told. Never been prouder of my English heritage." Japan saying he's all in on Justin Steele. Cousin Mush saying we need a Mal and Capper meetup in Vegas.
Oh,
that would be a all timer for the accent based.
Oh wow, could they even communicate?
I imagine
they're both from the north of their countries.
Yeah, they're both from.
I've listened to the golf show. And the Capper doesn't like English people. He makes this very clear every 20 minutes. So I'm not sure I'd be staying at a safe distance, I think, if I ever was in the same room as him.
Well, Boston was a flashpoint for the American Revolution, to be fair.
Yeah.
That's true.
That wasn't my fault, though. That wasn't my idea.
Yeah, Malcolm likes baseball. He's American as apple pie.
Baseball jumper.
Oh yeah, that's a sweet baseball hoodie you got there.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Great times, gents. A lot of fun, a lot of winners here. Why don't you real quick just rattle off your card, and we'll post all the picks at Gambling Podcast as well. But Wolf, just rattle off what you got there for the good folks.
Sure. On Friday in race 10, I'm playing the 1 pink polka dots at 20-1, win, place, and show. In race 11 that day, the Kentucky Oaks, I'm playing Torpedo Anna, the 5 to win. And then I'm playing Exacta 5 with 311. That's Torpedo Anna with Where's My Ring and Ways and Means. And in the Kentucky Derby, my top pick, who I'll be betting to win, is Forever Young, 10-1. I'm also going to use my $25 free Derby bet on the 6 Just Steal at 20-1. And then I'm playing an exact 611 with 2 611, which is Just Steal, Forever Young with Sierra Leone, Just Steal, and Forever Young.
Oh,
Malcolm, you want to just rattle off real quick what you got for the good folks?
Race 10 Friday is Buku. And for the Oaks on Friday, number 11, Ways and Means, straight win to be followed home by, in any order, 13, just FYI, 14, Leslie's Rose, and 5, Torpedo Anna. For the big one, 17, Fierceness for the win, to be followed home by number 7, Honor Marie. I take that win, play, show. And then number 4, Catching Freedom, and number 15, Domestic Product, in any kind of exotic that you want.
Love it. I'm stoked. I'm ready for Derby. And of course, NYRA Bets, aka Naira Bets. Use that code SGPN25 at nairabets.com/SGPN25. Get the $25 free bet. Get the $200 deposit bonus. It's free. What more do you need? Kramer, good times.
So I just was finalizing my card over here. It looks fabulous.
Make sure you check out Malcolm Bamford on the Premier League Gambling Podcast and the MLB Gambling Podcast. And make sure you check out the Wolf of Oaklawn himself on the Notorious OTB Podcast.
Thank you for participating in the Sports Gambling Podcast.
For the Sports Gambling Podcast, I'm Sean, stacking the money green. He's Ryan.
Oh, great job, Sean.
Kramer, let it ride.